Hold on a second. Okay, I've been approached by a public defender, so I'm allowed to record this, and I'm going to, so I can ask all the pertinent questions, point out all the key facts, and go forward, because I'm going to ask for due process, which is what I've never had. This has been my fourth arrest seeking medical services. Each and every time they've dropped the charges, I've never gotten to see the judge. I have 900 videos on YouTube of the Department of Public Health breaking the law. So, let's talk. What was your name again?
Elizabeth Camacho.
Elizabeth Camacho. Okay,
Camacho.
please, let's continue.
So my name's Elizabeth Camacho. I'm a public defender. I am helping your public defender. His name is Max Breaker. He is not here right now. My purpose with your conversation is to ask you questions about your sort of the preliminary questions. I'm going to briefly go over the police report with you.
Please.
You're here for arraignment today only. We're going to enter pleas if not guilty.
Okay, well, what about, my wanting to tell the judge that the law's been broken against me and I want, the city arrested for its law-breaking activity?
We can do that at the appropriate time, which will be at the next hearing during negotiations.
Wonderful. And at that point, they will turn around and arrest the city if I prove everything?
So, I don't, and I'm going to be honest, okay, with you throughout the whole
That's
way.
why I'm asking the appropriate questions, madam.
Yeah. So, I don't think that they'll arrest the city, right?
Well, I don't know. I spent 5 days in jail over a bogus charge.
But our goal is to get your case dismissed.
No, my goal is justice, not to get my case dismissed. My cases have always been dismissed, and I've never gotten due process or justice. No, madam. My goal is to get justice and to prove that the system doesn't work and it's rigged and no one's accountable.
Okay, so we can do that, okay? But we have...
All right, let's continue. I understand, one step at a time.
Okay, so today you are charged with count 1, which is eavesdropping.
Now, what is eavesdropping? Please explain that to me.
It's a misdemeanor.
No. I was charged with a felony, which could have ruined my entire life. No, it was dropped to a misdemeanor. I was originally charged with a felony. I have the sheet.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you what the charges are.
Okay, eavesdropping.
It doesn't matter what they filed because they can't prove it. The only things that they're going to try to prove is eavesdropping. And the reason that they say that is because you had a recording device and you were trying to record them.
Yeah, the receipt of my own medical care, which is not against the law, not against HIPAA, everything that they told me it was. When I brought the HIPAA law and pulled it out, they, of course, lied and arrested me because there's no consequence. There's no one who enforces medical law. The police department doesn't. The sheriff doesn't. The DA doesn't. Nobody enforces medical law. I have 900 videos on YouTube under Jason Garza. Go ahead.
And I get it, okay?
Yes.
So, but I'm telling you what the charges are. I think it's bullshit because you could do your own recording of your own medical treatment.
Of course. But when you have, 100 city attorneys who are going to misinterpret the law and give it to the sheriff who's there as security. I've called for police standby to come and ensure that my rights, ADA and everything else, are enforced. And the Department of Emergency Management tells me that the sheriff has sole jurisdiction over the buildings for the Department of Public Health, which is, I'm not giving up my police rights simply because the Department of Public Health has abrogated, to security.
So what their allegation is going to be is that you could only record certain conversations if you are given permission. What they're going to say is that they didn't give you permission, the doctors didn't, for you to record the interactions, or the officers for you to record the interactions, right? So that's kind of what they're going to say.
Well, but in a public area, they don't have the ability to say that.
Exactly, but I'm telling you, my job is to do two things. Inform you of what their allegations are
Correct.
going to be, and then what our
Now, can I
defendants
interject one other quick thing?
are. You can interject
For them
anything
to
you
say
want.
that I can't record my doctor, excuse me, I have videos of me recording my doctor.
Yeah.
So, once again, more bullshit. They gave me a policy on 824, that they had created when I was arrested. The policy says something about HIPAA sections 160 to 164. I have the video where I pulled out the HIPAA law and showed it to the officer and said, please explain to me what I'm doing wrong. Here's the law. And he immediately arrested me and charged me with a felony to ruin my life.
Okay.
It's not okay.
I know it's not okay, and I get it, okay?
Thank you.
I understand.
Thank you.
I understand everything you're going through. Second charge, it's a 602, interfering with a public agency.
Yes,
The
following up
allegation-
on your health care. That's interference according to them. I have the video of when I went in.
So they said by obstructing and intimidating or attempting to intimidate those who are carrying out the business.
Actually, it's the other way around. They were trying to intimidate me with the officer. Correct. Absolutely correct. And they broke my rights. Absolutely correct. And can I say one other thing, please? I'm in the middle of a federal lawsuit right now against the city for denial of emergency services at San Francisco General. I view this as retaliation. I'm in the middle of a federal court right now suing them over
Okay, so I
this.
okay, so there's a lot of DAs, so I want you to keep it low so that you could be with me only, okay? And everything you tell me so that only you and I can hear it, okay? Because there's a lot of DAs around.
I don't care what the DA said.
No, but I care because I don't want you to reveal our defense, especially if that's what's going on, that you sued them and they're being retaliatory
That's
against
correct.
you.
Correct.
Okay, so what I'm going to want you to do is keep calm.
I will. Go ahead,
so
please.
that everything is with us, okay? And then the final one is a bullshit charge, which is public nuisance.
Wait a minute, is that the 732 or something like that?
372.
Well, when I looked that up, it said something about a minor not being able to, something about minors and not being able to,
No, it's public nuisance, and for that, all these charges, they have to establish a lot of things, okay? They have to convince a jury that you weren't seeking medical help. They have to convince a jury that you, as a person being treated, don't have the right to record that. They have to convince the jury that you caused such interference as to be a nuisance, which is really hard to do, right?
Well, considering I have 900 videos showing them consistently breaking the law, I can't wait for the jury to see it.
But these are the goals, okay? The goals are for you to stay as calm as possible because you're righteous, right? But if you get exasperated, then the jury's going to think, well, he is a nuisance, right? Only on an exasperation. So you have to keep calm and have to be...
I understand. I think the 900 videos will show the jury where they push you to.
And we'll show all of that, but...
Thank you. It'll show why I'm exasperated because it'll show that I've been arrested. This is my 4th arrest, never had any due process.
And so that's why we're doing this right now, okay?
Thank you.
So that you know everything and so that you do not get exasperated on you, okay?
Okay.
So here's...
Now, can I interject one quick thing,
Yeah.
quick thing? You see, hold on, I brought my records. Here is where I have been charged with 632 before. What about the principle of waiver? That's another thing maybe you guys need to look into because I went to the hospital and I was charged with 632 and everything. Oh, darling, I keep every piece of paper. I keep everything.
Okay.
So here is where I was charged before, trying to follow up on my medical care, 632, trespassing, blah, 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 blah. 2 months later, the charges were dropped. I never got to see the judge. So my question is, what about the principle of waiver? If I've been charged with this before and it was bogus, why are they recharging me with the same bogus charge?
Because, and I will be frank, okay? And it's because they want you to stop coming to that clinic, right? That's kind of what it is.
So basically they want to break my medical right laws so that they can continue to pay their lapdogs, the sheriff, which provides security, which evades everybody's medical rights.
Exactly.
Thank you.
So what we gotta do is we gotta be smart, right? They filed charges now, right?
I can't wait to get in front of a jury.
They've filed the charges, so we have to make a decision whether we're gonna go to trial fast, which I think we should.
Yes.
Which is
and a counterclaim.
And so, okay, like I said, we have to be frank and clear, okay? We as public defenders cannot file counterclaims. And the reason that we cannot file counterclaims is because we are not a prosecuting agency. Right now, you're being prosecuted criminally in a criminal courthouse, okay? So the only people that can file claims or charges are the prosecutors who work with the sheriffs, okay? So what we could do is we could counter a defense. That's what we do.
Okay, so when do I file my counterclaim for, the legalities for, damages?
So I'm going to tell you how you do that, okay? You independently have to find a civil rights attorney who's going to do that.
Would
right?
you like to see the list of civil rights attorneys I've been to in my prior case where they had it thrown out of federal court only to sign a confession later on in 2001 when they denied me emergency services? Please give me a system that works, not a dead-end referral, madam. I can show you the paperwork.
So I can tell you my limitations. Okay?
Oh, okay, your limitations are fine, but I don't want to be limited in my due process because the system is rigged to fail.
I'm telling you sort of, I promise you, okay? I'm going to do my best and I'm going to be clear and honest with you, okay? We cannot file claims in criminal...
I understand the rigged process. You must understand why I'm upset.
I understand understand why you're upset.
That's all. And so I'm going to express it for the YouTube audience to realize this is all games.
Oh, don't put this conversation on YouTube because it's confidential.
No, I'm
Okay?
sorry. You already gave me your permission. I'm going to put it on YouTube to show people it doesn't work.
Mr. Garza, this is why I don't want you to put it on YouTube, okay? Because I don't want the DA to go up and look at it. Okay?
No, I'll put it up
Otherwise-
afterwards to show people
After
what we
we're
went.
done? Oh, okay.
Bingo! To show people that I asked all the right questions all along.
Okay, after we're done.
Yes,
okay?
but you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah,
To
after we're
prove.
done
No,
with the
no, no.
process.
Agreement. Let's shake hands.
Okay.
It's not about,
Because the other.
Oh, no, I
So let me
understand.
tell you what the DA will do if you put it before the case is over,
Mm.
okay? The DA will say, now you, Ms. Camacho, have broken confidentiality, and you have to give me all the information that your client told you in confidence.
Okay, I will wait till after. Now, when do you mean after? After they drop the charges, or what do you mean?
After they drop the charges,
Well-
or after we go to trial and win.
Or after? Now, what happens if they drop the charges? That just looks better for me for my
Or you
counterclaim.
just sue, yeah. Okay, so if they drop, or if we go to trial and win, it looks very well too.
May 1,000 camels walk your way in the desert, madam. I am so tired of having my rights broken as a United States citizen.
I know.
Simply because they can, because they set up a rigged procedure that's destined to fail, and there's no humanity.
I'm gonna just keep your case, okay? It was gonna be somebody else's, but I'll just keep your case, okay?
Okay, because I think you can tell I've got every piece of paperwork, and I've done everything right. But what good is doing something right when the system doesn't protect you?
Okay. So where we're at is right now I'm gonna go enter pleas of not guilty. Okay? I'm gonna say Elizabeth Camacho on behalf of Mr. Garza waive instruction and arraignment, enter pleas of not guilty, deny all allegations, and reserve the right to demur. I'm gonna file a motion called a demur. Okay? A demur
Means you have to prove it.
A demur says that on its face they haven't alleged any criminal
Right.
violation, and so all charges must be dismissed.
Correct.
All right, because they don't have enough. I'm also going to pull time, which means I'm going to set this case on a no time waiver.
I mean, it's got to go fast.
It's got to go fast. And
Thank you.
And the fastest in a misdemeanor proceeding, who is out of custody, like you, who's not in jail, is 40 days.
Okay, now let me ask you another question. What about the fact that they reduced it from a felony to a misdemeanor? And remember, a felony can ruin your life.
Yeah, so that's great that they...
No. I want to know, excuse me, they arrested me on Friday, charged me with a felony, told me that I couldn't OR, I couldn't do anything, I would go see a judge. They couldn't reduce it, so I was held in jail for 5 days, and then all of a sudden, they're releasing me because they reduced it to a misdemeanor. Why didn't they do that on Friday?
Because they're fucking dicks.
Bingo! But I'm still recording the truth for the world to know that I have not only been abused, I've been punished for a crime I didn't commit. I've already spent 5 days in jail, and if the charges get dropped, who's going to reimburse me for those 5 days in jail?
I get it, okay?
You do get it, thank you.
It'll be in your...
Oh, and it'll be on YouTube after they drop the charges or we go to court. And thank you, madam. Is there anything else I need to do? Just sit here and be quiet.
Just give me your information.
Okay, let me turn this off because I don't like having my personal information on.